which is financial decision making. So we're going to focus specifically on the skill of comparison shopping, which we use to help us in our decision making abilities. And then I'm going to show you sneaky math resources. These are my favorites. I really like this student activity packet from NGPF because it has this video choice board that you may be able to see if you're looking at the screen. We all know that when students have agency in their learning choices, that they can really, that they engage more. And so this, I think, is a great, that the titles here, if you can't read them, we've got the truth about online shopping, subscriptions everywhere, how to avoid hidden fees, the rising popularity of the Buy Nothing project, and omni-channel shopping in 2030. So a lot of different options. So this activity packet talks about comparison shopping as a consumer skill. So what is comparison shopping? It's when we're using criteria that's important to us and evaluating alternatives before making a purchasing decision. It is not only, although most people will focus on the price, that is not the only aspect of comparison shopping. For some people, that is the top priority. I compare just to find the lowest price. But for other people, it may be quality or craftsmanship. For others, it might be the quantity of the item that you're purchasing matters, the performance or the longevity, maybe a warranty, and then access. How far do you have to go to get it? How quickly can it be delivered to you? So all of these different components make up the, our criteria, what's important to us as we go into comparison shopping, which is really, I think, what makes this kind of problem-based learning. It's very open-ended and student-centered. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau has such fun standalone lessons. I say fun, I find them fun, but I think financial education is a hoot. Fun little lessons for teaching comparison shopping, introducing comparison shopping, buying plans, and budgeting. So these lessons represent a range of grade levels, from honestly from 4th all the way up to high school. But I would argue that they are appropriate for any grade level, particularly high schoolers. If you are looking for a like an opening activity, a bell activity, I think these activities can be very appropriate for that. They can be drawn out and built upon. They can be short and sweet practices. Using a budget to shop for a party is exactly what it sounds like. List of food with a price. They're probably not realistic prices in this economy, and then they got a budget of $25. It is not particularly challenging as far as just the academics of it, but it's a lot of strategic thinking, and it's going to be different for each student or student group depending on their priorities. Using a buying plan talks about specifically laying out that criteria on a grid when you're shopping for something. And I really like this one because a used laptop, a pre-owned laptop, is one of the options. I think we're seeing overall, especially with this younger generation, that secondhand shopping and purchasing is really losing some of the negative stigma that it used to have, at least that I used to perceive when I was a kid. It was sort of a negative thing. Now it's like the cool thing, and it's the sustainable thing. And a lot of our students and the younger generation really care about sustainability. Maybe that's a priority for their comparison shopping. So that's a great part of that, using a buying plan. Comparing video game subscriptions, I actually have a screen cap here to kind of show you how these worksheets are laid out. I like the graphics. I think they're very clean and crisp and easy to read. This one is about a subscription service, which has tiered subscription services, which is the thing now. Do you want ads or no ads? And as we can see here, the different tiers also have different monthly terms. $10 a month for bronze, or $50 a year for gold. This is, I think, really realistic to the purchasing decisions that youth face. And you can see on the comparing costs, if you're looking, there's easy math here. It's math that everyone needs to be able to do and should practice consistently. So I don't see any shame in that. And if you want to just wipe that out so it's not there to, as that scaffold and kids have to think through it, oh, I mean, that's a great extension, I think. And then also, if you have students with achievement gaps who do need those prompts, now we're remediating math, we're practicing comparison shopping, we're learning financial information. So there's a lot of cross-curricular opportunity here. Paying for fitness and practicing comparison shopping are really going to be very similar. But I think that I wanted to just point out we have video game subscriptions, gym versus home exercise equipment, and then comparing watches. So I really hope that between those three options, you can think of one that would appeal to your student audience. Because again, we know when kids are interested in the content, they're more engaged. Okay, and then as I mentioned before, I want to talk just really briefly about the ethics of, well, ethical purchasing. Maybe for some of your students, the sustainability option or the moral option, or they want to spend their money related to their values, or what's important to them, social causes they believe in. Maybe that's an area that would be interesting to them. And in that case, NGPS has two really cool activities on ethical purchasing. So the Analyze at the top there gives different scenarios that students have to talk through. I think there's great social emotional components here too as well. So in this scenario, we have Paul. He's a high school junior. He works a job to help his family pay the bills. He contributes, and he's eating dinner out at a local restaurant because he got out of work really late and he was starving. He doesn't normally spend money on that. And it's a busy night, and the waiter walks by and says, "Thank you so much for coming. See you next time. Have a good one." Very clearly thinking that Paul has paid, and Paul has not paid his bill. So he can leave without paying and put the money towards his family's bills, or he could tell the waiter his error and pay his bill. Pros and cons, evaluative thinking. Again, very open-ended and lets the students really kind of put themselves in the mind of Paul if they can connect to that, or even if they can't with their life circumstances. It's a great time to consider how others perceive or experience the world. And then there's also a Spanish version available, which we love. The bottom resource shows a website called the Good Shopping Guide. And I mean, ethical purchasing, you need a lens to look through in order to be able to evaluate whether something's ethical or not. And this uses the Good Shopping Guide website, and it just kind of has students go through, I think, shoes, I want to say cell phones, and then an item of their choice. And they kind of just look at all different ethical issues, for example, surrounding shoe production around the world. There are different ethical issues that are, related to that. And it's really aimed at helping students be more conscious consumers. They say you can vote with your pocketbook, I think is the saying, but really, like I said, for some people, this is a high priority for them when they're comparison shopping. I see it a lot in the Gen Zers. Nothing wrong with that, of course. And then my sneaky math. Financial decision making. This is math disguised. This is real life disguised as math, or math disguised as real life. It's in a Halloween costume. They won't know they're doing it. Figuring out how much to tip and giving a little background information on tipping services. Comparing the cost of Energy Star efficient appliances and regular appliances, and determining if is that actually worth our time and money. Customizing a vehicle, because the hidden fees of vehicle purchasing are crazy, right? It's not just that monthly payment. It's insurance. It's the options if you're buying something new. I just had to spend $80 on windshield wipers, right? So having students' eyes open to that side of car ownership. And then furnishing your own apartment. I guarantee you, if you look at this lesson, some of the prices, you'll think, oh, this is a couple of years old. But there's nothing wrong with the practice of that decision making, going through a list and making choices. So I just wanted to show these off a little bit to see, again, what you can expect when you're looking at one of these CFPB lessons. Again, you can adjust the math. And I think this could be really interesting. They put electricity at 13 cents a kilowatt. I think you could definitely look up your local utility prices and make even more of a connection for our students. And also, I'm a little embarrassed to say this, but I'll share. I didn't know that this was how utilities were calculated when I moved out on my own. Probably should have, but I didn't. So again, there's some real world information that's great for our students to be able to draw from once they're out and independent. This is kind of, I wanted to show the customizing your vehicle one because a lot of these, oh, that's a great idea, a great lesson. That's a lot of, customizations and components and parts, but they make this really easy. Like you get this list and the students pick from this list. Is it going to be, perfectly realistic? Not always, but it gives them the practice, that real world application in recognizing I'm making a choice. This is what I'm giving up. This is what my choice costs me. All right. We're